Hiya, folks. This is Rick Emmett of Triumph.
This is Mark Merrill, also known as Johnny B. Bad.
Hi, this is a best-selling author. I threw the best-selling in there. Best-selling author Dick Wybrow.
I'm Melanie from Second Shooter.
This is Jeff with Second Shooter.
Hey everybody, it's Brian Allen from Bridges of Blaze.
Hey, this is Sammy Lee, drummer of the band Red Rain.
Yo guys, it's Mark McKay.
Hey, this is Frank Fletcher.
Hola amigos, this is Billy Sheehan.
Hey guys, this is John Karabi.
Hi, this is Jim Valance.
What's up everybody, it's Logan from All the Pretty Things.
Hey guys, it's Leather Leone.
This is Nothing from Inside the Trojan Horse.
What's up guys, Cassandra Carson here from Paralandra and the Life Project.
My name's Reggie and you are listening to the Weekly Pour podcast. Thanks so much for joining the most amazing twosome out there.
The most amazing things that can happen to a human being will happen to you if you lower your expectations. Welcome to the Weekly Pour podcast. Here are your hosts, TBT and Ace.
Welcome to the Weekly Pour podcast. I am TBT. That guy over there is Ace. This is episode 145. And I am sick and tired of starting episodes talking about death.
Man, we got hit back to back to back. I mean, it feels like just death.
Yeah.
And this one we'll get into, but we didn't even get a chance to breathe.
No.
From Ozzy.
Exactly. Well, we had a day and a half, so that was like a day and a half to mourn Ozzy by himself. And then it was 2 days later that we find out that the Immortal Hulk Hogan passes away due to cardiac arrest at his house.
Is he immortal?
Wow, too soon. That sucked. Absolutely sucked. I was not ready for that. Obviously, big in the world of wrestling from, probably 1979 and moving on, which we'll get into that here in a little bit. Yeah, so we, from one to the other. Before we get into all that, I want to say hi to everybody that's in the chat, of course, who all's in. Mama TBT is in, and a couple of the others, unless our wonderful moderator has decided to ban people like she did last week, claiming that she threw her phone down. Okay, whatever.
Yeah, and then TBT has to throw himself on the sword and apologize.
Right.
For someone else's mistake.
Yeah. I have to text this person because I know who it is and be like, hey, what happened? And, sorry, the moderator said she slipped. Yeah. Okay. I slipped. Right. Oh, and look, Nat McFuck is in there. Hopefully she gets to stick around. We appreciate
Thank you for hanging around and coming back.
Yeah. Good grief. Unreal. It's like we have to get a new moderator.
They don't come cheap.
Well, and she's not even said anything. So, oh, wait. Oh, I'm sorry. It was a complete accident. Air quotes. Accident. Right. I mean, I've thrown my phone down or dropped it. I've never, sent an email or all of a sudden I'm posting on, TikTok. Never.
I have accidentally texted the wrong person.
I've texted you when I meant to text the wife. I mean, don't worry about the photo, but yeah, it happens. I get that. But that's when it's in your hand. If I set it down, whether it's face up or face down, doesn't matter. So something's fishy. I think this is a work. It did not do it on its own. That's a lie.
How?
Yeah. Right. If it was 1988 or, whenever we first got cell phones, I would believe it, because they were as big as this cup.
1988?
I don't know. I don't remember. Been a while.
I remember I had a bag phone.
Oh, wait.
In 1992.
Okay, I was
phone
close.
In a bag.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The water did it. Okay.
Why is she putting her phone in water?
I was washing dishes and water got on it. So the water just went over to the little bitty teeny weeny button, pushed it, and then scrolled down to say banned.
Does she even pay attention to the show?
She does not. She does not. Welcome in, Brian Sanchez. Hello, everybody from Albuquerque, New Mexico, and RAP, Ozzy Osbourne and Hulk Hogan. Absolutely. Welcome into the show. We appreciate you jumping in. She doesn't listen because look, if she's got to ban somebody, she's doing this with her dishpan hands, trying to find a towel to ban them. And then all she does is like get water and throw it on the phone and hope for the best.
She probably wears the gloves when she does dishes, doesn't she?
Probably. Pink ones, blue ones, or the old school yellow?
Right. The old school yellow is what I'm thinking.
Yeah. Oh, she said no more hugs for Ace. Okay. Now his back won't get wet.
Me?
I don't know. Whatever. Okay. Whatever. It's hot. It's 90 some degrees. I gotta tell you something real quick because I think it's funny and nobody else will. I came home the other day because of all the heat. A little bit of pool water had evaporated. So what happens?
That'll happen.
You got to add water, right? So I did. And then 3 hours later, it rained like no other. After it was done raining, I had to go pump it out.
Did you really?
Yeah. So I like totally wasted, I don't know how much water.
Yeah, right. Gallons and gallons. Your water bill's double.
Yeah.
For nothing.
Exactly. It's for nothing. It's ridiculous. Let's jump right into this. We mentioned at the beginning of the show that last Thursday, I think it was, that we lost Hulk Hogan at the age of 71. This was reported by TMZ originally, initially. We've watched, I know Ace and I both have watched a bunch of movies, or not movies, but videos, whether it be on Facebook, TikTok, whatever, social media, of just, people finding out about this and, the reactions and all that. Hogan had went through some pretty significant surgeries, I guess, like in the past month or two. And there had been reports, scuttlebutt, that he was on death's bed and everything was just horrible and blah, blah, blah. Now, we don't know if he was or not. If you ask friends like Mouth of the South, Jimmy Hart, he's like, oh no, everything's good. He's fine. He's getting better, recovering from the surgery, blah, blah, blah. That statement was made maybe a day, maybe 2 days before the announcement of his death. Absolutely shocking. I don't think anybody saw this coming because there was no indication that he was, legit reason to believe that he was on his deathbed or that he was even to the point that he was sick. And he may not have been. I mean, we all know cardiac arrest, you get that boom, it's time to go.
Right. With Ozzy, we all knew the time was coming. The shock of it was it came so quickly after the final concert.
Yeah.
And he had just done an appearance where he was signing autographs and things like that. With Hulk, I mean, we just saw him on TV.
Right.
And he looked fine. He spent all that time campaigning, if you remember. I mean, he was ripping his shirt off at the Republican National Convention.
Yeah.
And acting just like he always did, like Hulk Hogan.
And he was doing promotions for his beer. And Real American Beer, I think is what it was.
Right.
And him and Eric Bischoff were getting ready to launch a brand new promotion. And there were video clips that were posted on their social media of them announcing this stuff. And, Hogan did not.
Right. No, right, because those were cryptic little announcements, weren't they, at first?
Yeah, they were kind of reminiscent of some of the old, WCW stuff that they did when they had the NWO. So, yeah, it's cryptic.
Yeah. And, it just sort of came out of the blue. And Hulk is no stranger to surgeries anyway, back surgeries, knee surgeries. hips, whatever problems he was having from the years and years and years of leg dropping everyone.
Yeah.
So yeah, it was just more of a shock than anything, and really not even that old.
No.
In essence, anymore. What did it say? 71.
Correct.
Yeah, 71 anymore is not really that old.
Right.
But when you've lived this wrestling lifestyle, and I'm not even talking about a hardcore lifestyle of drugs and pills and things like that. I'm talking about just in ring, beating your body up on the road, things
Old
like that.
school. The old
Old
school
school,
way.
right? And you know, it just a beat up body. But other than that, you would think he was fine.
Yeah, right, exactly. For a generation of fans, Hulk Hogan was professional wrestling. His rise in the 1980s under Vince McMahon in the WWE, WWF at the time, created an unprecedented boom in the wrestling industry. Without, okay, let me just go ahead and get this out of the way. There was some controversy involving Hogan. We know that. Everybody does.
Lots of it. Lots of it.
However, no matter that controversy or how you felt about him personally or whatever, it was never the character of Hulk Hogan that had this controversy. Without Hulk Hogan, we do not have the WWE that we have today. We don't have professional wrestling the way it
Like
is
we had.
today.
Right, unquestioned that his impact has been felt over the last 40 years. Easily 40 years. You mentioned 1979, I think, but it was closer more to what 81 or 82 ish when Vince bought the company from his dad,
Right,
and then started searching for someone that could carry carry this thing globally, because Vince is the one that had the bigger vision at the time. And only Vince knew what that vision really was.
Yeah.
Did you ever see the Hulk Hogan stuff in AWA before he came to WWF?
Yes.
I love that stuff.
Yeah.
I'll admit I'm not a big fan of the cartoonish figure Hulk Hogan was. I like that AWA stuff, but that's what really got him on the radar for Vince,
Mm-hmm.
and said, "This is a guy that can carry a company." And now we've got this cultural icon. Because whether I like his cartoonish type of appeal, that doesn't it doesn't degrade the impact he had on professional wrestling, because it was enormous. I mean, this man carried a company, into the 90s on his
It's
back.
almost fair to
One
say
company.
that he carried two.
Right. Well, yeah, WCW, when he finally went over there and pulled them back, or brought them back.
Right.
Well, they were never in competition, really, because they were still hanging on to the old school NWA type stuff.
Sure, but when you talk about the impact that the the heel turn, the heel Hulk Hogan turn, the formation of the NWO and WCW,
Which I loved.
that is when the ratings wars
Yes, the
between the
Monday Night Wars.
WWE or WWF and WCW, that's when it happened. And WCW was just blowing WWE out of the water with this storyline.
Which still gets talked about.
Oh yeah.
Today, the Monday Night Wars. And we Bischoff is the one that gets a lot of credit for that. And Hogan kind of gets lost in the shuffle, but really it was Bischoff and Hogan doing this sort of heel turn and storyline that really brought him into prominence.
Yeah.
And then not only that, people are leaving now because of the money and the freedom they were going to get with WCW. Scott Hall left, Razor Ramon, Scott Hall, Kevin Nash, guys like that were leaving and going to WCW.
Yeah. Absolutely. Again, you can't deny what he brought to the world of professional wrestling. it was he was a 4-year champion for 4 years. And then, subsequent after that, he'd win it, he'd lose it, he'd win it, he'd lose it, have contract dispute, go to WCW, turn around, do the same thing there. This is when we were finally getting, Hogan against, some of these people from WCW that were, iconic to NWA/WCW. And it was like, oh, that's, who would have ever thought you'd see, Hulk Hogan and Sting, Hulk
Right.
Hogan and Ric Flair, two
Right.
of the greatest champions of all time. So
right, you were getting to see something that was more kind of legendary in a sense, and of course highlights. You think about the body slam of Andre the Giant,
WrestleMania 3.
right? You think about that, which in and of itself, if you watch that match, it's not what you would. If you watch wrestling today and you watch that match, you're not going to see the same thing. But that match by itself is so brilliant, psychologically, and that body slam being the highlight of that whole thing. Yeah, and another one I think about is the Yokozuna match with Bret Hart.
Sure.
Where the salt gets thrown in Bret's eyes, and Hulk comes and saves the day and wins the title, and all that crazy stuff.
Yeah. 1987 WrestleMania 3. This is just a brief glimpse of the impact of Hulk Hogan. Had this match between him and Andre the Giant not been happening, you wouldn't have had the sellout crowd of 93,173 people at the Pontiac Silverdome.
Right.
Being billed as the showcase of the Immortals. The showdown between, all-American Hulk Hogan and the vicious Andre the Giant. And to be fair, without Hulk Hogan and Hulkamania, we would have never had WrestleMania. And
right.
And where are we at now? We got what's this year? WrestleMania 42, 43?
Some crazy number. But
yeah.
You're right, because again, the vision was to push it globally, and to do that you would need a fresh star that could have the charisma, have the talent to want to do that.
Right.
I mean, Vince could have went a lot of ways, but he already had a relationship with Hogan. Hogan had been in the WWF prior to this. As what was he? Was he Hulk Hogan then, or Sterling Golden, or some terrible? Remember, if you look at clips, he's got the cape. You remember the cape?
Oh, I remember the cape.
Yeah, he's got a big yellow cape or gold. It's ridiculous. But at that point, he wasn't the Hogan that he ended up being. But somehow, some way, Vince saw something in this guy that was going to carry the company. Yellow and gold, yellow and red. I mean, we're going to establish these colors as Hulk Hogan's colors.
Yeah.
We've got a theme. We've got a theme song for him. The whole thing. The take your vitamins, say your prayers, all that stuff. It became iconic.
He was the rock star, the Kiss of professional wrestling, because whatever you could find Kiss wise, lunch boxes, blankets, sheets. I'm sorry, you're going to find the same thing with Hulk Hogan. That marketability was off the charts.
Right, and like we talked about with Ozzy, Hulk eventually transcended, wrestling and became his own brand, going into movies, TV shows, things like that. Quality-wise, they may not have been the best movies or best TV shows, but regardless, his name was always out there, and everybody knew who this guy was.
It's safe to assume that some of them would have been straight to DVD.
Right.
Hashtag Mr. Nanny.
I think. What was the one, the wrestling one? No Holds Barred. No Holds Barred.
Oh, no, because that brought us Zeus. That gave us Zeus.
Yes,
then
you're right.
Transferred over into, WWE. And this is where we first started WrestleMania 1 anyway. You first start getting not superstars, but Hollywood stars. Mr. T, Liberace, Cyndi Lauper,
Lawrence Taylor.
Yeah, and it's just been continuing on for years. I mean,
Well,
we've got Jelly Roll wrestling this Saturday at SummerSlam.
which I hate to say, I didn't want him to be good, but actually he's not bad. Jelly Roll, he's not bad.
I know.
Well, you brought up Cyndi Lauper, and that made me think of the rock and wrestling connection. That was a big deal.
Right.
That these are the things that brought it to the mainstream.
Yeah.
Because wrestling had always been a niche type of thing that you watched, and maybe you didn't tell people you watched it.
Exactly.
Right. But Hogan comes along, and now all of a sudden it's cool.
Yeah.
It's cool to watch wrestling, or at least watch Hulk Hogan.
Right.
And it's cool to be associated with it. If you're Cyndi Lauper, if you're Liberace, if you're Mr. T, I mean, this is a guy that was in Rocky. What was it? Rocky 3?
3.
Yeah, Rocky 3. I watched it not that long ago, and I love. He doesn't do a lot as far as speaking, but I just love that whole thing where he's taking advantage of Rocky in this whole exhibition match is what it's supposed to be. But he's taking all these liberties, as they say.
Well, this is the same guy that got Dennis Rodman to leave, the Bulls, go do Starrcade or Bash at the Beach, whatever it was, with WCW.
Karl Malone was there. Was Karl Malone there?
Yeah, and
Right.
then leave that night to go back because he's got a game. You're not going to do that for just anybody, but you're definitely not going to tell Hulk Hogan no.
Right.
So whatever you want, whatever you want to focus on his controversies, well, that's on you. But I certainly say that there will never be another Hulk Hogan. Now, different eras. You're going to have your John Cena's, you're going to have your Roman Reigns, your whatevers, but there will never be another Hulk Hogan. Not in the same light of popularity that he was.
Right, because where wrestling is now, as it grows globally, as you said before, it wouldn't be here at this point without Hulk Hogan and what he did, in the 80s, the early 90s, even beyond that. He had great matches in the mid 2000s. The one with Shawn Michaels is one I always think about as being a really good one. And then of course, like you said, bringing WCW back, into prominence. He was in TNA at one point.
Right.
I remember that because they were trying to do the same thing, catch lightning in a bottle twice with that one. And that had mixed results, but it was still fun.
Yeah.
And it still grabbed attention. Anything that this guy did grabbed attention. And we didn't even talk about his reality show.
No, exactly.
Right. So here's another guy, much like Ozzy. It's the reality show that puts him in everybody's household again, and actually probably a new set of people watching him.
Oh, for sure. People those are the ones that I'm not going to tell anybody I watch wrestling, but I watch Hogan Knows Best. Oh yeah, that's a cool show.
Right. You may not have listened to Ozzy Osbourne, but you watched the Osbournes.
Exactly. Yeah, same thing. Well, while we're on the subject of WWE, and of course we offer our condolences to the Hogan family. While we're on that subject, Netflix has just released a new docuseries based on the WWE, and it is called Unreal. Actually, it's called WWE Unreal. This is a backstage look with WWE superstars and staff as they bring the company's spectacles to life, from Monday Night Raw to WrestleMania. This is all a bunch of backstage stuff. Shows you the basically the war room, of writing shows and how the big PLEs or the pay-per-views get wrote, and how they come to fruition. I've made it through, I think, 2.5 episodes. Each episode is around an hour long. If you're a fan of wrestling, this is if you don't want to be spoiled on how they do stuff, don't watch it. But to hear some of the things that are talked about, because this is all stuff that's already happened. We've already had
Right.
WrestleMania for this year, but
Right.
we're building up to WrestleMania for this year on this show. And there's some stuff that's talked about in the room where they're doing the writing where you're like, they could have went that direction, but they decided not to. Prime example, and this isn't a spoiler since WrestleMania has already happened. CM Punk was supposed to go over at WrestleMania, but it became too predictable.
Right. That happens because it's too predictable, or it's what fans want, and you're giving them. You can't give them everything they want, right?
Right. Yeah. So he's supposed to go over, and somebody brings up, well, what about Paul Heyman getting with, Seth Rollins? Oh yeah, that's not a bad idea. And we know how that turned out. Another thing they talk about is Royal Rumble, where it's like, yeah, Cena needs to win. That's the plan. And then somebody's like, well, what about Jey Uso? And they talk about the Michael Hayes, one of the fabulous Freebirds, who's a WWE producer. He is interviewed on screen basically. And I'm not going to give a whole lot of it away, but he says basically, when something's hot, you burn it. You burn it as long as you can. You burn that fire. You just keep it going. And you can see where they finally decide, you know what, we're going to go with Uso.
Right,
So,
because at the time he was incredibly hot.
Yeah.
Right, incredibly hot.
There's footage of the gorilla position, which is the position right before the wrestlers actually go out into the public eye at every show, where
Right.
Triple H sits. All these people do their production stuff and timekeeping and all that. You'd actually be surprised for those that don't know how this works. You'd be surprised learning from this show just how much production is put into it. They're talking about how they talk to the wrestlers through the referees.
Right. The referee's got an earpiece, and the announcers have headphones that are they're being piped in stuff all the time. Say this, include that, don't forget this. I don't know how they do their jobs. I really, I don't. A referee, I can see. Oh, you're hearing something and you're watching. You're doing the match, but the announcers, man, especially when Vince was there, I guess he was just terrible about just yelling at people over the headphones.
Yeah, ask Michael Cole.
Yeah, right, and Mick Foley.
Exactly. But it's good. It's really good. It's a good behind the scenes look at how WWE is done. There's interviews with some of the top stars. Rhea Ripley, John Cena, of course. It's good. I think it was 5 episodes total.
And I don't think if you're, especially if you like, you're used to the old traditional wrestling and you grew up like I did with the studio style wrestling. I don't think you can argue though that when you put on a production this big, it's going to have a lot of moving parts. This isn't the Emerson Gym in Mitchell, Indiana in 1982. Where it's a spot show and you call it in the ring, brother. We'll just call it in the ring. It's not like that, and I mean, even now, every step is scripted, just about, like in the match, just about. I think some of them do call it in the ring here and there, but
yeah, John Cena is a typical one where they just they call things, in the ring, but it's scripted or not. I mean, that's a lot to learn because you got to figure, you're
that's
doing
my
this
point.
every week.
That's kind of where I was going. Is that how in the world do you remember that we're doing this in the corner, then this happens, and this? How do you remember all that? And I think it'd be easier just to remember the highlights. Here's 3 things we're going to do, and we got 10 minutes.
Yeah. Well, and a lot of times the matches can go over. They may be limited to 15 minutes. So they have all these points they have to hit at a certain time. And if you don't hit it, you end up having to cut things out of the match. And you hope that you can tell the referee, tell them to cut the,
Yes,
the
because
pile driver or whatever.
That's who's in charge of doing that, too, keeping everything in pace.
Right. And hoping that producer gets that information to the ref so that they can get it to the superstars. It's insane. It's
because here's
Natalie
one thing I
says that
hate.
it's like a choreographed dance. It is, but in a choreographed dance, you don't have somebody telling you, don't forget to use your left foot. I mean, there's a scene where somebody gets pushed. Somebody pushes a fan. And they immediately show Gorilla, and they're like, no, don't touch the fans. Don't touch the fans. Only to find out that it was an extra. Because when the cameras are getting this, I don't think this is anything that's in the show, but when the cameras are hard cameras, the background needs to always be full. Anytime the wrestlers are going into the crowd, those areas need to be full. So what they do is the WWE will hire fillers. And those fillers, you can see them, they're, wearing a wristband. Those fillers go and fill in seats when people go to the bathroom, go to get popcorn, whatever it is, they send seat fillers. And then when the person comes back, they get up and they leave. You don't get paid for it. Your payment is you get to attend the show for free.
Right, and occasionally sit down.
Yeah. Other than that, you're standing back like this, waiting to get told where to go, and you're just watching the show. Been there, done that.
Right.
It's kind of
well, and that makes sense because I've always wondered too how they keep the fans from like when you go in the crowd, the wrestlers go in the crowd, and how are these people not being constantly touched or assaulted somehow or popcorn thrown on them or something,
Yeah.
And so it's a tightly run ship in the sense there's probably some security there. Plus, some of the people around those wrestlers are probably the people you're talking about.
Right.
Some of the fillers and that type of thing. That's
Well,
kind of neat.
not just that, but I mean, when Charlotte Flair's wrestling, you got to make sure that you got to fill the seats for the fans who get up and go get popcorn because it's boring.
Oh, stop.
I got to do that just for you.
I'll tell you one thing that does bother me. You were talking about time and cutting things is when they cut, when a match goes over and the next match gets cut by 5 minutes or 6 minutes
or completely.
And they, I hate that. There was a match, I think, when Rousey was there, it was a Ronda Rousey match of some sort. And, it got cut down to 6 minutes or something with entrances or 8 minutes with entrances because it went over and I hate that because you're being sold short on something else.
Exactly. But it's interesting. I highly recommend you watch it, even if you're not a big wrestling fan, Kathy. Just go and just give it a chance. Watch it. It's on Netflix again.
That's what I like about documentaries is that not every documentary has to be something that you like, specifically. It doesn't, the Wrestlers documentary on Netflix with Al Snow and OVW.
Yeah.
That's a great little series. And I think it would appeal to anybody. It's a reality show set in wrestling.
Yeah, really. Basically.
Essentially. Yeah, I think anyone would enjoy it. It's like there's a Billy Joel documentary now on Max that's out. I love it, but I like Billy Joel, but I think anyone would like it. I think you got to give things a chance, just for fun.
Are you good?
Well, yeah, I just wanted to get that in before you cut me off.
Well, no, you're just talking about giving things a chance. I thought we were going to break into like a Kumbaya song. It's all right. We'll be good. Moving back, I guess, put in reverse, Terry, we're going to go back to some Ozzy stuff. Ozzy's memorial service and funeral was today. If you wanted to catch the procession, yes, the procession, you would have had to have got on and started watching at 8 o'clock this morning. This was 1 o'clock in England time. The procession went through the streets, and there was a band that was playing Ozzy songs, Sabbath songs as the procession went along. Went past the Black Sabbath bench that's been out for years that fans have now basically just turned into a memorial for Ozzy, bringing flowers, signs, mementos, the normal thing that people do anymore. During the procession, the vehicle carrying the family did stop in front of this bench. Um, Ozzy's children and Sharon all got out. Sharon obviously visibly distraught, almost to the point of being held up by Jack and his sister. They laid flowers and got back into the vehicle after a moment. They waved to they acknowledged the fans. I won't say they all waved, but they acknowledged the fans and the appreciation that the fans were showing. There were chants of Ozzy, there was chants of Sharon, we love you, Sharon, just everything you could ever imagine. Again, the family lays flowers, pay their respects, and then they jump back into the vehicle and go to what I'm presuming would have been the private ceremony that was for family and friends only. Obviously, no fans or the media. None of that footage has yet to, I guess, hit the airwaves. I don't know if there was any footage taken that's going to be made available. Like the Lemmy Kilmister funeral, where that whole thing was broadcast.
Right.
So don't know, but that was today, and I tried to throw it on this morning for a little bit to at least watch that procession, and I mean it was a celebration. The band playing some great music, and by band I'm talking like a marching band, not like electric guitars and all that. Um, it's celebration because that's what Ozzy would have wanted. He wouldn't want some somber thing, people crying and all that. Um, it was interesting. It's kind of cool,
Yeah.
something different.
Can you even imagine? Of course, Ozzy fans are feeling a loss, but Ozzy himself having such a big personality, can you imagine that one day that personality is there, and the next day that house is empty and it's gone?
Oh yeah,
Just how big his personality is. You walk in, and you're so used to Ozzy, acting the way he acts and talking the way he talks, and just that presence being gone. That has to be just a big hole.
absolutely. And I think it's that way with anybody that loses somebody close. Kathy just throws it right there. She did. She talks about Sharon, and it looking like her health was going downhill because she looked so awful and thin. She looks frail. Obviously
Frail, yeah.
she's for the past week she's probably not been taking care of herself as well as she should, but that's anymore that's I don't want to say that's a norm, but I mean that sometimes that's what happens with spouses, with close family members when somebody passes. So um it's just the way she's grieving and the way she's going to handle it. It's somebody she's been with for however many years, and it's a big deal, and it's gonna be a big deal. It's gonna be one of those things that lingers for a a very long time. If you think it does as a fan, I mean, just imagine how
Well,
she's feeling.
and the thing about Sharon, and we all know this about her, even if we don't know her, is that she's incredibly strong, incredibly driven, and if anyone is going to be able to handle this, it'll be her.
Right, but a lot of her drive and ambition.
Was wrapped around Ozzy.
Exactly.
But also now we can work on keeping that legacy alive as well.
For sure.
Yeah. You know,
And this is one of those things where she's just everybody's going to have to get through, you know,
yeah, right.
especially
Right.
her, get through it and then focus on, now we focus on the legacy. What do we do? So, yeah, Kathy, I'm going to read this straight off the chat that Kathy put on there because it's important. When you encompass your entire life supporting someone or taking care of someone when they leave, you lose your sense of purpose in this world and your mind takes you dangerous places. Absolutely. Which is
Yeah.
why it
Yeah.
is imperative, for her to have family around, to have those friends, to not let that person become a recluse. You know, you got to keep them. You got to keep their spirits up as much as possible. But
Right. And don't forget, they have children that lost a dad,
yeah,
so everyone needs to be around each other.
yeah, and their children lost a grandfather. So
Right.
yeah,
And,
it's
and they get lost in the shuffle, the
sure.
kids a lot with all of this. But yeah, they're grieving. They all are.
Yeah, I will say one I guess good thing that has happened for the Osbourne camp. There has been an Ozzy Osbourne hit that has landed on a major Billboard chart for the first time ever. Billboard has reported that Crazy Train from the 1980 debut solo album Blizzard of Oz charted at number 46 on the Billboard Hot 100 during the week of August 1st, and it saw a 194% spike in streams. But that's not all. Mama, I'm Coming Home, sparked by the Back to the Beginning and all that. That from the 1991's No More Tears returned to the charts for the first time since 1992. When it peaked at number 28 on the charts. This time around, the ballad landed at number 49 and saw a 298% increase in streams just from the week prior.
That's impressive.
Yeah. Those two songs also claimed the top two spots on Hot Hard Rock Songs chart, followed by No More Tears and Black Sabbath's Paranoid. Crazy Train and Paranoid had already been in the chart for the last 3 weeks, following the massive Back to the Beginning concert that took place in Birmingham on July 5th. We said this last week and probably the week before. It's when people pass. This is when, people are, oh man, I got to listen to the music again.
Well, here's one thing. Maybe I'm going to sound, I don't know, maybe I'm wrong. Here's what I hope, because I don't want Ozzy to get reduced to just Crazy Train and Mama, I'm Coming Home,
Right.
because we hear those songs so much and they're great songs. But Ozzy's, just his discography is so good. I was listening to the No More Tears record today, the whole thing, because it's such a good record. If that's a gateway for you to get into Ozzy, great. But I just don't want it to be, that one song. Yeah, that one song, Crazy Train.
Yeah.
I mean, you hear it at stadiums all the time anyway. It's become one of those songs. I don't know. There's just so much more to him and to Black Sabbath and all of that.
Sure.
I hope when we talk about his music living on, I don't want it to just be Crazy Train.
No. I want it to be some of those obscure things that people don't always listen to, for sure. This is Ozzy related, but this is courtesy of our friends over at Blabbermouth. I'm going to read this. In one of the most unforgettable and emotional moments in recent music history, the original Alice Cooper group reunited live on stage at London's sold-out O2 Arena, performing together in front of 12,000 stunned fans on the same day their first album in over 50 years. 50 years, that's a 5. The Revenge of Alice Cooper was released. The emotional crescendo of the night began as Hollywood superstar and Alice Cooper's Hollywood Vampires bandmate Johnny Depp joined Alice and his touring band on stage for what appeared to be the show's explosive finale as they played Paranoid in tribute to Ozzy Osbourne, which obviously sent the crowd into a frenzy. But holy moly. I mean, that's cool. I mean, as a fan of, not just Ozzy's music, but then Alice Cooper, being with his band out on tour, first album in 50 years, or first new album in 50 years. And then you've got, Depp coming out, who's part of your Hollywood Vampires. And they didn't play Crazy Train.
No, I think it's cool too, though, that of course Alice was there, at the same time. the Sabbath was coming out, and it's that same era of music. And I just think it's cool that we take time out on a day like today and pay tribute. Because Ozzy wouldn't want you to stop touring. He wouldn't want you to cancel a show or anything like that. He would want you to play because he would want to play, right? And just stopping for a moment and playing that song is pretty cool.
Yeah, it very much so. And as much as people give Johnny Depp a ration of crap, I mean, he didn't have to do that.
No, he didn't have to do that. And these little tributes are all over the place in concerts.
Yeah,
Uh,
there are way
uh,
too many for us to get into because there are
yeah,
so
yeah.
many of them.
There's so many. There were. I think I told you last week, it was last week. There was country concerts that were playing at Crazy Train. My daughter went to a John Party a concert, and they broke into Crazy Train, and a Hailstorm is on tour now, and they're still playing Perry Mason in their set, which is cool. And like you said, too many to mention.
Yeah, and think about what you just said though. You mentioned a country artist.
Yeah.
Who's doing this as well. So I mean, we said this last week, it crosses everything. The impact.
Right, and maybe it sounds funny, but a lot of these country artists have band people in their band that are ingrained in rock and roll, but they want to have jobs, so they do whatever jobs they can get, and if it's country, it's country. So the guy doing Crazy Train could shred. I mean, he was really good.
Exactly.
Yeah, so it's not like these guys were, doing the 1/3 bass beat and strumming a G note or something. These guys could go.
Yeah, which is good to see. I love seeing that that whole crossover with all of them. And if you want to look at them, just Google them. Ozzy tributes, because you could spend
There's a lot.
hours.
There's a lot.
Yeah, just spend hours watching videos on YouTube of all these things.
Yeah, and it's well deserved.
100%, 100%. And hopefully, I'm knocking on wood that we don't that we can continue next week's podcast without any more death and destruction.
Kathy messaged me. I think after Hulk Hogan, I told her about Hulk Hogan passing, and we just had Ozzy. Now we got Hogan, and her text back to me was, "They better stay away from Robert and Tommy Shaw."
Yeah,
and I'm thinking they seem to be healthy, those two. So hopefully.
Well, it's the same thing, on the other side of that, the other genres are saying, stay away from Dolly Parton, stay away from, Willie Nelson, all that. It's inevitable. We all know that. But to get two back to back that were so iconic to our generation,
was right. Our generation, and then just being globally so big, just not even beyond a household name. It seems, that was a standard. You're a household name, but gosh, it felt like they were even bigger than that.
Exactly. I want to throw something out real quick. Pam just put it in the chat. Says that Blackberry Smoke doing "Children of the Grave" is really good.
Ooh.
And I'm gonna mark that because I want to make sure to go watch that. It's not Crazy Train.
They're good. Yeah, well, and they're a good band. They're a really good band.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So that'll be good. I want to check out. Pam, I appreciate you putting that in there. We'll see that. We do have a few other stories. Since we mentioned them in the promo, I guess we should probably talk about them. One of the biggest things that Ace and I have been discussing a little bit is the first ever tribute album to Bad Company is being put together, and it is a star-studded tribute scheduled to be released on October 24th. What a lineup! This is incredible.
It's becoming a thing, isn't it? The tribute album.
Yeah,
we didn't have them for a long time, and now we're getting them in waves.
Yeah. The name of the album is Can't Get Enough, a tribute to Bad Company. Features legendary and contemporary artists from rock, country, and Americana. all these genres that were deeply influenced by Bad Company. And I will gladly let you go through this list of stars if you have it pulled up, because this is pretty badass.
Well, and some of them are the usual suspects, but there's some different ones in here. Hardy is listed in here. You and I have talked extensively about Hardy.
Yeah.
And he would fit right in because this guy crosses both country genres, rap, rock, whatever. Pretty Reckless. Joe Elliott and Phil Collins from Def Leppard. Slash featuring Miles Kennedy and the Conspirators. That's pretty cool.
Yeah.
Charlie Crockett. I'm not familiar with Charlie Crockett. Hailstorm, which it's required that you have Lizzie Hale on everything, right?
Right. It is now.
It is now. That's part of the list. And then let's see. Struts. The Struts are doing Rock and Roll Fantasy, which is excellent. The track listing is here. The Hailstorm track is Shooting Star with Paul Rogers. So
Right.
he's singing with Hailstorm in a bit of a duet. Blackberry Smoke is on here, doing Run with the Pack, Rock and Roll Fantasy with the Struts. Charlie Crockett, Bad Company. Rocksteady. Dirty Honey is covering Rocksteady, which is a newer band, a very good newer band. Blackstone Cherry, who I love, is doing Burning Sky. A song called Seagull is the Joe Elliott and Phil Collins track.
This
And
last
All
track
Right
is
Now.
the one. Yeah, this one here is the one that I cannot wait to hear.
It should be excellent. All Right Now with the Pretty Reckless. That's a free song, not a Bad Company song, but it should be excellent.
Right.
So yeah, all in all, you got 10 tracks and it's loaded with talent. So I look forward to this. Looks really good.
It does. That's definitely one. And again, that's going to be released on October 24th. So be on the lookout for that. I'm sure once it comes out, we'll have plenty to say about it because it's going to be pretty good. And speaking of choking, speaking of releasing new music, Stryper, who it seems like we talk about just every few months because they've released something new. Well, they've done it again. The first single from their upcoming Christmas album has been released in July. So
stop. Stop. It is July.
I know. Still the Light is the first single from the...
Is the Viper in the chat?
He was.
Well,
we didn't pay attention to him, so he's probably pouting.
Well, he should be excited because, Christmas is all year round for him.
Ugh, gross. Still the Light is the first single from an upcoming Christmas album from Stryper. The actual release date, I don't know what it is, but I've listened to a quick snippet. Actually, it was right before we started this podcast, and it's Stryper. I mean, no denying that. It's Stryper. Powerful guitar, bass, drums, and the undeniable strong voice of Michael Sweet. It's definitely Stryper. I'm not saying it's good. I'm not saying it's bad. It's Stryper. And as a fan, I'm a big fan of Stryper. It's good, but it's July. I don't need a Christmas song in July.
Maybe they're going to squeeze out the singles like they like to do over time, and we'll get about 4 of them.
Sure.
And by November, see all the 4 singles will be out, and then the album, and you'll be ready by then.
Yeah. The 10-song effort will include 5 original Christmas tracks and 5 traditional Christmas cuts, including remakes of Reason for the Season and Winter Wonderland, both of which originally appeared on a 1985 single and were also made available on the 86 re-release of Stryper's debut EP, The Yellow and Black Attack. So, it's Christmas in July. Enjoy.
I'm going to put my tree up now.
You better stop. Big rumors coming for Vegas. If this is true, I may have to take a trip to Vegas nonstop from Indianapolis International Airport. According to another publication, Metallica is allegedly ready to ink a deal for a Sphere residency in Las Vegas. The site which this website that is reporting this bills itself as your go-to source for news and opinions about all things Las Vegas, reports that the heavy metal giants could play the Sphere in the fall of 2026, which would be after Metallica's scheduled M72 World Tour itinerary dates conclude, because it's been going for like 5 years now.
Forever.
Yeah.
Forever.
That's big. There's been some residencies held at the Sphere already from like U2,
Yeah,
the
they were the
Eagles.
first.
So I'm getting Metallica. If this happens, that may be a weekend trip. All paid
you'd have to
for
get
by Natalie.
You'd have to get a tattoo because you're going to Vegas, and
Okay.
Well, I mean, that's just what you do, right?
I'd have to get married.
That too.
Yeah, drive-through marriage with a Metallica tattoo. But I think that's kind of cool.
Well,
I hope that actually.
I do think it's cool because I'm trying to picture that stage show and all the graphics in the Sphere.
Yeah,
because that thing lights up, all around you.
Could
and
you
and you're
imagine
getting
one?
exactly,
Oh,
and you're getting
gosh.
pounded with that, that rhythmic music that they play. It'd be pretty impressive.
Yeah. I can't wait.
What's it going to cost though?
$14.99.
14,000.
Probably. I don't know. We're going to end this on a high note. As the greatest band of the 1980s finally has a new movie. Spinal Tap 2.
Yes.
The End Continues is the long-awaited sequel to 1984's This is Spinal Tap, one of the funniest films of the 80s and really actually probably ever. The new film features all three original members of Spinal Tap, who will reunite for one final concert.
Whoa! Did you say original members?
Yeah.
You can't have three original members of Spinal Tap.
Well,
because
they do.
They've blown up their drummer how many times?
No. And how many episodes did Kenny die on South Park?
It's not the same.
It's the same. There is a trailer out and available for the sequel. It will be absolutely amazing. I'm going to read real quick because I got a little bit of time. The film's official synopsis: 41 years after the release of the groundbreaking mockumentary This is Spinal Tap, the now estranged bandmates are forced to reunite for one final concert. I don't even want to know why they were forced. Spinal Tap 2, The End Continues, also marks the resurrection of documentarian Rob Reiner, or Marty DeBurgi, who once again tries to capture his favorite metal gods as they contemplate mortality and the hope that their 12th drummer doesn't join them in the great beyond. Joined by music royalty Paul McCartney and Elton John, Spinal Tap wrestles with their checkered past to put on a concert that they hope will solidify their place in the pantheon of rock and roll. Spinal Tap 2, The End Continues, is scheduled to open in theaters on September 12th.
Yeah, my favorite album by them is Sniff the Glove. It's my favorite. It's a good one.
Can't wait. Cannot wait. If you've never watched Spinal Tap, if you're listening to this live or on a replay, and you've never watched Spinal Tap because, it's old, please watch it.
It's one of the first. Yeah, I think the first ones where they did that documentary style, like you see on The Office and Parks and Rec and Modern Family. It's like that,
Yeah.
where they're following the band around and documenting their history, and it's
Exactly.
just utterly hilarious.
Yeah.
Utterly hilarious.
It's fantastic. On a closing note, we appreciate you guys that listen, that come and see us every week, or that listen to us in between. We do keep track of all of the feeds, the lives, all that fun stuff. We appreciate it. We do, and I'm going to pull this up real quick. We do have a new feature available. If you're even interested a little bit, if you want to call and ask a rock and roll music related question, or just give us your comments or whatever, unless your name is Viper, then don't call. We got a new phone number for the Weekly Pour podcast, and we would love to hear from you guys. Give us a call, 747-333-8977. This is hilarious because just as I said that, the phone rings, and I hope somebody pauses and gets that number because it's potential spam, and I'm pretty sure they want to tell me about a loan that the paperwork is waiting for me to buy off on. Anyway, it's 747-333-8977. 747-333-8977. Not only can you call, you can also text. And yeah, we'll read your stupid stuff online unless it's like really stupid. Then we'll just make fun of you. So call us. And
Either way, it's a win.
Yeah, it's a win no matter what. So join us. We got to go get off of here and go talk to Kathy about going and seeing Metallica.